Hey everybody, and welcome again to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing a very long book series which was adapted into a movie, and it is One for the Money by Evanovich. I started reading this book series when I was in high school, and it is very close to my heart. My high school bookshelf will attest. Got many other books that are in the series. All the books in the series basically have this kind of numerical titles, like the same titles I think that teach you how to count when you're young. It's like 1 for the money, 2 for the dough, 3 to get deadly, 4 to score, high five. You get the picture. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the film or read the books, this is the time to walk away. We follow the life of Stephanie Plum. She's a 26-year-old. She lives in Trenton in the Berg, and she's kind of down on her luck, you know. She did what she was supposed to in terms of like what young Berg families do. Like you get married kind of young, you have babies. She gets married, doesn't work out because her husband cheats on her wedding day. She loses her job at the button factory, and then she blackmails her sleazy cousin Vinny into giving her a job at his bail bonds office. So she's completely unqualified, but she finds herself being a bounty hunter and chasing after like failure to appear's FTAs, and you follow her through her shenanigans and her unfortunate mishaps, which are plentiful. She is like very prone to very hilarious and embarrassing interludes. So that's basically the gist of the story. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch it for a while. I simply wasn't interested in watching it because I was so afraid that they would get it wrong. I only recently watched it. The movie came out back in 2012. I watched it this year, 2016. And I'm gonna say what I think about it. The good things, the bad things, and questions that I have. The good things about the movie is that it's really entertaining. It's got a good pace, and there's lots of eye candy. That's about it. Everything else from there is nothing like the book. As you know, like with these fandoms, we get really sour when fandom gets adapted for the big screen, and then things which do not need to change but are necessarily changed. I'm gonna start with the obvious. Katherine Heigl as Stephanie Plum wasn't working for me and almost everybody else I know who's read the book. The reason for that being, like in the book, she's really relatable, and she's a small person who's flat-chested. She's kind of average, and I'm not saying like she's unattractive at all. She's kind of average. She's gorgeous with makeup and like if she does herself up, but she's kind of frumpy. Katherine Heigl is not frumpy or ordinary or any of those things by any stretch of the imagination. Also, like, she's not small. She's like probably 6 foot something, and she's definitely not flat-chested. It was very weird to see her playing Stephanie Plum. And then the other thing also is like the wardrobe. Stephanie is like really detailed in the fact that she always wears her blue faded jeans and her white shirt. And for like the first, I feel like half of the movie, Katherine Heigl is walking around in like a 2-piece skirt suit that's kind of outdated in heels. I was like, why is she like in heels and in this suit? Stephanie doesn't do that. I feel like they kind of cast Katherine Heigl because like she's a big name, and they were hoping that like, you know, she'll draw the audience in. Of course, she's also very attractive, which in theory I get how you could think that that would work, but like I said, when you're true to the fandom, you kind of want the person who's going to play this character to be as close to the book character as possible, if not better, which unfortunately her first FTA, or like her big FTA anyway, is catching Joe Morelli, who she's supposed to have some kind of tension or romance with, but she harbors a deep grudge toward him because he nailed her when they were in high school and he never called her back, which I guess is a good reason. There's a scene where he fake hits on her, and she's so easily like swayed, and then he's able to dupe her and throw her keys away and escape. So I didn't like that. I just generally don't like that whole idea that like women are so eager or desperate for like the affections of a man that they throw away good sense whenever this affection is kind of handed out to them. Then there's the case of Joe Morelli, who he like is kind of brooding, has dark hair. The guy who is playing Joe Morelli in the movie is sort of blonde and kind of glib a lot of the time, which is just like not really the personality of Joe Morelli, I felt. That's just my personal opinion. And I feel the same way about Ranger. Ranger in the books has a ponytail for like a long time. I think the ponytail only gets cut when I think it's like in the 8th or the 9th book or something like this, where he's on the run and he like has to change the way he looks so that it's easier for him to stay incognito. So like the guy at the head did not have long hair or a ponytail. And he was also like kind of not as dark and mysterious as Ranger from the books is. Part of the reason that like the story is so addictive in the books is that like there's very obviously a love triangle kind of situation going on with Stephanie, Joe, and Ranger, which I did not feel at all in the movie. Ranger and Stephanie have this kind of protege relationship type thing, but there's also a very strong spark between the two of them. It's always a lot of tension and sizzle, and I felt none of that in the film. He goes to help her uncuff herself in the bathroom and she's naked, and he's just, there's nothing. It's just like, whatever, I'm here, uncuff yourself, here you are, uncuff yourself, I'm out, deuces. There's no bedroom eyes, nothing. There was a little bit of it with Joe Morelli, but it wasn't convincing, unfortunately. Again, just my opinion. So that was kind of disappointing. And then the other thing is that two of the supporting characters who have huge personality in the books are Grandma Mazur and Lula. And the movies were nothing like in the books. Lula is, you know, she's bubbly and stuff in the movie, but her personality in the books, she doesn't take orders from anybody. She does her own thing. At the end of the movie, she gets told, get back to work, and she actually obeys. In the books, Lula is never working. She's employed full-time to do filing at the office, but she never does it. She's always chilling out, doing what she wants. She goes on breaks like she wants. Like, it's sort of like she's the boss of the office. So that was kind of weird. And even Connie, who works at the bail bonds office as like the administrator, she kind of reminds me in a way in the books of like Bernadette from Big Bang Theory, because she's attractive, but she's also a little bit conservative. And the Connie in the movie was like scantily clad and like really saucy and things, which Connie is not in the books. So that was weird. Grandma Mazur also in the movie was far too young and too kind of like she had put the brakes on her usual character. Like in the books, she's really out there. And yeah, in the movie, she just not Grandma Mazur. I had some questions about, for example, in the movie, after Lula gets like beaten up and she's in hospital, like everybody's waiting for her outside the hospital, and I thought that was really weird. Like she's being brought the flowers outside, like, and I was like, why aren't they waiting for her like in the waiting area or the foyer or something? Like, did they not get the rights to like film inside the hospital? I kind of felt like it was one of those Olsen twin movies where like when they were younger, like Passport to Paris or whatever, where they'd go and then like they'd be in the city and they'd, you know, show you how they're going shopping, but then they wouldn't be able to go film inside the shop, so they'd like try on the clothes but outside the shop and then go back in and change and come back out the shop at the entrance of the shop, which is really weird. And I kind of thought of that when I was watching like people waiting for Lula outside the hospital. I thought it was weird. What I'm saying is that overall, I thought obviously that the books are, and the movie was like I said, it's entertaining, and definitely if you haven't read the books, you know, it's great. But if you have and are still reading them, I know I'm still reading the most recent one, you know, it was But then I feel like in terms of the book series in general, something that needs to die, and I am gonna just concur with Andre from Black Nerd, is that this last minute save trope, I don't know if I feel like it needs to die, but it certainly is becoming predictable. The Stephanie Plum series kind of has overdone that a bit. That like we always know, like as we're reading the stories, that it's building up to this final scene at the end where she's gonna get got, and then in the last minute, either Ranger's gonna save her, or she's gonna save herself, or Joe Morelli's gonna save her, or something, you know, unexpected is gonna happen where she ends up managing to scramble away and save herself. So that's getting a bit predictable, but I still love the series. Another thing, where was Cluck in a Bucket? I really was hoping to see Cluck in a Bucket. I have fantasized about Cluck in a Bucket because like in the books, as a place, it plays a really big role in terms of like the story. They are there often, breaking their diet rules all the time. Like, you know, could have slipped it in there somehow. Like when she goes to like get the food, when she's going to interview Lula, she could have picked Lula up from Stark Street and then they could have gone to Cluck in a Bucket. I don't know, just saying, just putting it out there. I'll be honest and tell you that I don't think that there'll be any more movie sequels for it, but you never know. Alright, so let me know what you think. Let me know if you watched the movie. Let me know if you've read the books or are reading the books in the comments below. And yeah, hit me up either on Twitter or Tumblr. That's where you can find me. But if you like this video, subscribe, share. I look forward to hearing from you.